Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you as always for taking time out to watch the videos. I appreciate all the support you guys show the channel. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and discuss. So before we dive into these topics today, do me a big favor. Make sure you hit that like button if you do enjoy the content and you do enjoy the video. And make sure you hit that subscribe button as well if you are new here to the channel. Now, the first topic we have to discuss once again focuses on acquisitions, specifically big acquisitions. I know that some people are feeling tired of this conversation already, but you have to understand that this is something that is gaining traction rapidly, and it's going to continue to happen. And most importantly, it's going to have a big effect on gamers, not just PlayStation gamers, not just Xbox gamers, but pretty much everybody. So this is something we do want to pay attention to. And if you're somebody who wants to see Sony go out there and do more, because at this point I think they have to, I don't really think they have a choice in the matter, then I think you're going to want to pay attention to this, because we have Jeff Keighley taking to Twitter, and he says, "Have heard from multiple people, as you might suspect, there are a few other big video game deals in final stages of negotiations. It's going to be an interesting year." Now, this is coming off of hearing Jeff Grubb say something very similar, where he heard that there's going to be another major acquisition. He didn't say who it's going to be, whether it's going to be Microsoft or Sony, and neither did Jeff Keighley, but it's unlikely that it's going to be Microsoft, because as of right now, they're still worried about the Activision Blizzard deal, and we just learned that the FTC is getting involved and they're going to be reviewing it. So it's extremely unlikely that Microsoft is going to announce anything major during this time period, and it'll probably be quite some time before they announce another acquisition, unless it's something smaller. I could see that, but you know, we're hearing that these are some big deals. And so when you look at what Sony's Jim Ryan said, we covered this yesterday, he basically is coming out here after the Bungie acquisition and telling all PlayStation fans that we are not done when it comes to acquisitions. We still have a lot to do and many more moves to make. This immediately sparked a conversation, and this is exactly what I think Sony wanted, of people talking about, okay, well, what's next? What's Sony going to do next? Is Sony going to buy a publisher? And this is the big question that I think everybody has at this moment in time. And I know it's the question that I have, because if Sony buys a publisher, it's going to be a big deal. We saw Microsoft buy multiple publishers. We saw how big of a deal it was and how big of an impact it's had on the entire industry. And so if Sony starts buying some publishers of their own, it's going to be just as significant, and obviously even more significant for the PlayStation fan base. A lot of people are looking at Jeff Keighley's tweet here, and they're assuming that this does pertain to an extent to Sony. Now, he references other big, video game deals, and they're in the final stages. So apparently it's more than one. I don't know if he is just talking about Sony exclusively here. We won't know that. We have no way of knowing that. Only he would know. But I certainly believe that Sony is getting ready to announce something way bigger than Bungie. It's also worth noting that we have Sony's CFO, Hiroki Totoki, basically letting us know that when it comes to scale, when it comes to how Sony views acquisitions, they don't really have a specific criteria. So here's a quote he told investors when he was asked about the Activision Blizzard acquisition and just acquisitions in general. He says, "In terms of the scale of investment, we do not have a criteria. In terms of acquisitions against our competitors, we can't say anything. We do not want to speculate." Now, this is an important quote because, first of all, he's making it clear that they don't have any specific criteria. Now, this is different from what we've been hearing up to this point, right? Sony has really been kind of beating that drum of organic and where it fits, where it makes the most sense. And there's no doubt that Sony will continue to be strategic about what they're doing. They're not just going to do something for the sake of doing it. They're going to have a good reason for doing it, one that lines up with their business and their goals, right? But he also says here that we can't say anything. We do not want to speculate. Some people are reading into this that Sony is in the final stages of negotiations, and they are maybe letting us know that by wording it this way, but they obviously can't say who these negotiations are with, or whether or not they're going to go through. A lot of people are thinking that that's what Hiroki Totoki means when he says we do not want to speculate, because as we know with these types of deals, any type of acquisition deal, they could go south very quickly. They may end up falling through. And so it is in every, businesses and company, it's in their best interest to make sure they're not coming out here saying something before it's a done deal, because that would backfire on them tremendously. But I feel like that's kind of what Hiroki Totoki is getting at here. And so all in all, guys, this idea that Sony is getting ready to purchase a publisher, at this point in time, I would not be surprised at all. But the big question is, if they are going to buy a publisher, who are they going to get? Well, for me personally, I think Sony should try to get Konami if it's possible. Not only does Konami have a plethora of valuable IP, but they have some of the best IP that I think Sony could really do some great things with. Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill, Castlevania, and many more. We know that Konami pretty much isn't doing anything these days. So the way I would look at it is Sony kind of saved these IP if they were to acquire them. But outside of Konami, people are looking at Capcom. People are obviously looking at Square Enix. Square Enix, right off the bat, seems to make the most sense, just considering how close Sony already is with them. But really, I think it's anybody's guess. I think that any publisher you name, it's a possibility. Some are more likely than others, but I know that there are other publishers that we can think of that people wouldn't be as excited about. But nonetheless, I think that Sony is absolutely getting ready to do something huge, way bigger than what we saw with Bungie. And I feel like given the timing of Jim Ryan coming out here saying, yep, we're going to be buying more stuff, and then the very next day, Jeff Keighley saying, yeah, I've heard from multiple people, there are some other big video game deals in the final stages, and then we hear Sony CFO Hiroki Totoki talking this way about acquisitions. Guys, I think we are about to see Sony announce something very big. Now, again, I don't want to get ahead of myself. It might be a while. It might end up being nothing, but this is the latest we have to go off of. And I do want to add one last thing here before we move on to the next set of topics, and that is the fact that so many people have said that Sony shouldn't do this. Sony shouldn't try to acquire more and more, and they shouldn't worry about trying to go after a publisher, especially a publisher. And I understand where these people are coming from, but I have pretty much completely changed my tune on this, because we now know that the industry is going to consolidate no matter what. It's happening right now, and it's happening rapidly. And there's nothing that anybody can do to stop it. I know that people talk about how upset this makes them, this is bad for the consumer, so on and so forth. And I'm not saying that that isn't true, but this is just the way it is. And as I said, nobody can do anything about it. So with that in mind, the way I see it is absolutely Sony should get involved as heavily as they can with this. I think Sony should absolutely not just sit on the sidelines while everybody else is pretty much being bought up, and there could eventually come a time where there's pretty much nothing left, right? I think Sony not only has to get involved with it, but I think they absolutely should, because as I said, this is going to happen no matter what. And as somebody who prefers to play on PlayStation, I naturally just want to see Sony kind of make sure, hey, get a slice of the pie yourself, get a couple slices, right? Don't be the one sitting back and watching everybody else get their hands on that pie, So that's kind of how I view it, but maybe you can let me know your thoughts down below. We are moving on to the next topic, though, which talks about GT7. We have some very good news that I think many of you will be happy to hear, specifically if you're planning to play this on PS5. Apparently, there will actually be a full ray tracing mode for Gran Turismo 7. Now, previously we heard that ray tracing would only be available during replays, but it seems that's not the case. Now, as of right now, this is just a leak, and I'm sure we're going to learn by tonight with the Gran Turismo 7 Focus State of Play whether or not this is true. It seems that it is, however. This was leaked during a recent press event, and it says, of course, the technical part of the title is also important since it is the first-party racing game that we will see for the PS5. So according to Kaz, the GT7 on the PS5 will have two display modes, one aimed at the highest possible frame rate with a ceiling of 60 frames per second, and one with an improved display where ray tracing mode is activated for improved lighting, shading, and above all, reflections on the bodies of the vehicles. Now, that's all we know right now. it could be that this is some type of, mess up and people are misinterpreting what, Kaz is saying here, and Kaz could very well just be referring to the replay mode, but this is something you might want to pay attention to, because I know that some people were feeling disappointed that a game like GT7 wasn't actually going to have a ray tracing mode when, people felt like it absolutely should, and it should go beyond replay. So don't want to get anybody's hopes up too high, but definitely something you might want to pay attention to. And as I said, we will likely learn about this during the state of play. Next up, we have apparently what is going to be an Uncharted crossover with Fortnite, some type of collaboration. Data miners have found evidence that suggests an Uncharted Fortnite collaboration is on the horizon. The new event will start ahead of the Uncharted movie adaptation's release later this month. The special event will let players find and collect treasure chests around the map, which hold valuable weapons, building materials, ammo, and currency. And according to prominent Fortnite leaker and data miner HypeX, this Uncharted collaboration event will be starting on February 17th, one day before the movie releases. So there you go. Sony continuing to collaborate with Fortnite. But next up, we're talking briefly about Hogwarts Legacy. As of right now, according to an insider, it's set for a September 2022 launch. Warner Bros. Recently confirmed that Hogwarts Legacy will indeed launch in 2022, but according to tipster account NGT on Twitter, the fantasy is being locked in for a September launch. Not only does the insider claim that Hogwarts Legacy will arrive at the very beginning of Q3 2022, but we can expect a new trailer showcasing skills and abilities to drop this month or in March at a PlayStation event. Presumably this is referring to another state of play, but that remains to be seen. So yeah, we have account NGT, who has been reliable with Quantic Dream related stuff, as well as with stuff regarding Hogwarts Legacy, telling us that it is on track for 2022, specifically for September. And so I imagine that most of you who are looking forward to Hogwarts Legacy are feeling really good about this information and are certainly hoping that it's true, because the last time we talked about this game, we were hearing that apparently it's running into some type of development issues and it might get delayed till 2023. Now we're hearing the opposite of that. And so, yeah, at this point, we have to obviously take everything we hear about this title with a grain of salt. But to me, it seems likely it will be a 2022 game, just because, I don't know, I feel like it's going to launch this year. I just have that feeling. I don't know why, I just do. But yeah, I'll keep you guys updated with Hogwarts. The final topic we have here is in regards to Dying Light 2, reading from PlayStation Universe. The PlayStation Game Size Twitter account has revealed that Dying Light 2 on PS5 weighs in at half the size of the PS4 version, as seen below in a shot of the game downloading. The PS5 version of Dying Light 2 is 25.4 gigabytes, while the PS4 version weighs in at a much heftier 50.9 gigabytes. This is all thanks to the Kraken compression technology employed by Sony's new home console, resulting in much smaller file sizes. Now, Dying Light 2 is getting ready to release in just a couple of days here, and I'm sure a lot of PlayStation 5 owners are looking forward to it. And so if you do plan to play this on PS5, you can enjoy the fact that the file size will be literally cut in half thanks to Kraken compression. Pretty awesome. Obviously, if you're playing it on PS4, it's going to weigh in more, but again, that's just one of the many advantages that the PS5 offers. So yeah, let me know if you're planning on playing Dying Light 2, but that's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. Leave it a like if you did. Leave your thoughts down below. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.